Repeat group. Reading practice 1, text 1. Question number 1 is a conclusion question, and in order to answer such questions, you need to have a general idea of the whole paragraph, but you should focus your attention especially on the last few sentences. Also, while going through the options A, B, C, please pay attention to the synonyms, because the answer will be the rephrased version, rewritten version of the idea in the text. So it has to use synonyms in order to express the same idea in a different way. Here, if you look at the word deal with, you see that it is the synonym of putting up with, and an issue is the synonym of the toll. That's why the answer is C. Question number 2. This question gives us an extra sentence to be placed in the correct place in the text. In order to be able to answer such questions correctly, you need to analyze what the extra sentence is saying and what the text is saying. So if you look at the extra sentence, we have the information as old as here, from which we understand that the troll started to be used when World Wide Web was started to be used. So the time they appeared, both the internet and the troll, is the same. So if you place this sentence after option B, the next sentence here, the word troll first popped up in the early days of the internet in forums like Ansenet and BBS. This sentence will be the explanation of this extra sentence. First popped up means first emerged. In the early days of the internet means the World Wide Web. When the internet was started to be used, the word troll appeared at that time. So the meaning is similar. Question number 3 is a function question. So when you read such questions, you should think this: why is this paragraph written? What is the reason that I am reading this paragraph? In order to find the answers to such questions, you need to focus your attention to the recurring words or phrases. I mean, words and phrases that appear frequently throughout the paragraph. Here, we start with a time phrase on the early internet, which means the first days of the internet. Then we have the date 2012. Then we have the first decade of this century, which are all about time. And after each of these time phrases, we have a different definition of troll. So in the early days of the internet, it was called for someone for being quarrelsome. Then it became an identity, and finally the term entered the public consciousness. So we can say that the concept of trolling evolved, which means changed over time. This paragraph explains how the concept of trolling evolved over time. Question number 4 asks you to find the irrelevant sentence. In order to find the answer for such questions, you need to pay attention to the link, the connection between these 3 sentences. You can look at the pronouns, you can look at the meaning, you can look at the words that follow each idea and see if they're relevant or irrelevant. So let's start. The first sentence talks about some trolls and their outrageous and offensive behavior. So these trolls acted in a bad way. They were very angry and they offended people. Sentence B talks about these trolls, which seems fine, but if you look at sentence C, you read the idea that people at all levels started to suffer its unfavorable consequences. So here we have its, all right, which is a possessive pronoun, and it refers to behavior. Also, you suffer unfavorable consequences. Here we have a negative idea because suffering is not something good, and unfavorable is something we don't like, and outrageous and offensive are words that have a negative meaning. That's why A and C are connected more than A and B. So the answer is B. Question number 5. Again, in this question, we are actually asked the function of the sentences about a girl in Florida, Amanda Todd, and Charlotte Dawson. I mean, why are these sentences given in paragraphs D and E? So in paragraph D here, you can see that a girl in Florida here, all her information was made public and people pranked call her, spammed her Facebook and MySpace accounts. So bad things happened to her. And in paragraph E, we learn that Amanda Todd committed suicide and Charlotte Dawson attempted suicide as well. Therefore, we can conclude that trolling is actually an online harassment, which means an online abuse. And these names are the examples for this harassment, for this abuse. That's why the answer is A. Number 6, another conclusion question. So as I told you at the beginning, you need to have a general idea of the whole paragraph, but focus on the last few sentences. Here we have two separate but related definitions of trolling. Classical trolling, in which the goal is a good laugh. So if you laugh at something, it means it is positive. And anonymous trolling, which is actually predicated on harassment and abuse. And if you are talking about harassment and abuse, it means you are talking about some negative connotations, ideas. Therefore, here, depending on the situation the trolling describes, it has both positive and negative connotations. Even from the first line, we can understand that, because it talks about trolls being both harmless, positive, and malicious, yani negative connotations. And that's why the answer is A. And finally, question number 7, the best title for the text. In order to be able to answer these questions, such questions, you need to have a general idea of the whole text. So in this text, we learn how the word troll appeared, how it has changed throughout time, what cases it led to, and in what kind of situations it is used. Therefore, we can say that this text is about the evolution of the internet troll, which means how it started and what progress it has made. Thank you for listening. I hope I could explain everything clearly. If you have more questions, you can always contact us via email or during our online office hours. Thank you.